Hi everyone, in today's video we are going to talk about fantasies and whether or not they help or hurt your relationship. So if you've ever fantasized, doesn't have to be about kinky things, but just fantasized at all, click the like button to this video to let me know that you do indeed fantasize. And of course, make sure to subscribe to this channel and leave me a comment about your most favorite fantasy. I am Céline Remy, the Intimacy Angel, and I am here to help you bring your sexy back in life. So most people have shame when it comes to the fantasies. It's very rare to find people who fully embrace who they are and what they like. They tend to think things like, what's wrong with me? Am I normal? Is this even okay to fantasize about? Or maybe they're thinking there is no way that I can share this with somebody. Like no one would love me if they knew that about me. So all this shame and guilt associated with the fantasies is definitely not helping. The thing is, you are who you are, you love what you love, and your kinks are your kinks, and that's okay. So the very first step is to come to terms with what you like without judging yourself so harshly. If you can't do that for yourself, it's going to be difficult to ask someone else to welcome you with full acceptance when it comes to your fantasies. So it always starts with your inner work and being okay with who you are. So when it comes to whether your fantasies can help or harm your relationships, it really depends on how you use them. You see, some people use fantasies as a way to bridge their relationship, to create a bridge with their partner where they get to connect and explore and be creative together, while others use their fantasy as a way to create a distance with their partner. And that's where it becomes more harmful to your relationship. So when you are fantasizing and you're not really sharing that with your partner and you are lost on what I called fantasy island, your partner can feel it, that you are not very present with them, that whatever they're doing, they can't fully reach you. And when you are using the fantasy to get yourself turned on, to being able to get in the mood, but you're not sharing that with your partner, that's when you are creating a distance. Now, maybe your fantasy is something that you don't really want to have happen, but you like the fantasy of it. Things like if you're a woman where you might be fantasizing about being gang raped, or maybe you're fantasizing about multiple people's sex, or whatever that is really. And same for a guy, you might have fantasies where you're like, well, I like this, but I'm not sure I really want that. So when you know that you have a fantasy that you like, but it's not something that you want in real life, you need to start to use aspects of that fantasy and bring it into your relationship. So what is it that you really love about that particular fantasy? If it is about the gang rape, it's more about being able to fully surrender, and it's about letting go of control, maybe being overpowered, whatever that is. Isolate the need that's really underneath the fantasy, and then you get to take that part and see how you can creatively bring that into your relationship. Because if you don't, and you try to stuff that part of yourself away, that's going to create a distance with your partner. That's going to create a lack of connection and intimacy. So how do you really share your fantasies? Well, here's the thing. You just have to be honest, open, and vulnerable with your partner. And it's best to have this discussion maybe when you are relaxed, the two of you, maybe you are snuggling on the couch, but make sure you're holding each other and touching, and really bring up the subject of like, okay, I have this fantasies and I have no idea how I could bring it to life, or whether or not I'm even going to like it, but I want to share this with you. Please don't make fun of me or don't judge me, because this is like very vulnerable for me to share. So if you create something like this and your partner is willing to listen to it and makes an agreement that he or she won't laugh at you, then share that fantasy. And then the fun part is about brainstorming how you can bring that fantasy into your sex life, or bring those elements of that fantasy into your sex life. So when you are able to share your fantasy with your partner, that's when you get to create really deep intimacy. And that's when it can help your relationship, because you're sharing a bond, you're sharing something that you are not sharing with everyone. And when that happens, it is absolutely helpful for your relationship. So remember, when it comes to fantasies, it is all about how you use them. Whether or not you shield yourself on Fantasy Island and don't invite your partner to play with, or whether you bring in that creativity, that fun aspect, and share it with your partner. And then in terms, it can create so much more depth, passion, and connection in your relationship. Alright, I hope today's video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. I want to thank Onnit for sponsoring today's video. Now, do you know why you feel hornier in the summer months rather than the winter months? No, it's not because you're showing more skin. Well, it does help. It's because of the vitamin D, because you spend more time outside and in the sun. Now, as many as 75% of people in the US are deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D is one of these essential vitamins. It's the sexiest vitamin alive. It helps with your sex hormones, with your mood. So one way that I found works really well for me is to take it into a spray form, because it's convenient and simple. All I have to do is 5 sprays under my tongue every day, and I've got my daily dose, and it works well. I'm set to go. If you want to boost your vitamin D levels easily and effortlessly, get your Onnit spray. Go to onnit.com and use Love Lab at the checkout to get 10% off your order, or click on the links below in the description. You won't regret it.